Greetings, my fellow primates. Again, my name is Dustin Micheli, and this is the Primate Report, coming from you from Press Monkey Independent Media. Please check us out on Facebook and also this YouTube channel, and we will be giving you fresh perspectives on current events and politics, progressive perspectives, not often heard in your mainstream media outlets, and well, we're going to start out. We're going to start out right now. We gave you guys an initial report giving you a rundown about me and who I am. And again, I'll give you more about who I am and some more details about myself and personal life and what motivates me and why I am doing all of this. Including I do want to eventually cover the whole Bernie Sanders debacle, and I will. We will go back to that. But right now, the most pressing thing, and I understand a lot of people. I understand that a lot of people have a lot of things that they feel is very pressing, but this is one thing that really affects us all when it comes to the mainstream media versus the online press corps, our ability to get the information to you. It's a key issue, and it's called net neutrality. Many of you have probably heard of it, and it's become a very hot topic. This upcoming date is Net Neutrality Day of Action to Save the Internet, and it's July 12th, and so is why I wanted to get this report in really soon. Call the FCC, call your congressman, call your senators, call everybody that you can think of that would have any influence whatsoever in being able to call Ajit Pai and the rest of the FCC chairman, and stop them from basically giving the internet to the big telecom providers like Comcast and AT&T. We want to preserve the internet as free, fair, and open. It's important for the emerging free press that has had to break away from the corporate establishment platforms. So it's incredibly important. I mean, we've seen how mainstream media has been reporting on a lot of issues, and clearly they've not done the American people, the public in general across the world, any kind of service whatsoever, and they've discredited their own medium, and so all of, myself included, all of these other places have to pop up, So it's really important. Give a call to tomorrow. Tomorrow is today or tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, is Monday. And right now, it'll be the 10th. So give FCC a call, email them, get on their website and leave a comment. Call your congressperson and call your senator's office. Let everybody know that you would like to be able to continue a free and open internet for everyone. It's really important to not give in and give over our. It's about democracy, it's about freedom of speech, it's about freedom of press. I don't think that myself or many of the other people who come before me in this medium doing shoestring journalism, or even better than that to some degree, would be able to do what we do without net neutrality. Net neutrality is a key issue that really must be addressed, and it needs to be addressed now. It's not something that we can toy around with. Donald Trump is set to be able to nominate a new FCC chairperson, to bring it back to the magic number 3 that they keep it at. We already know that the two main FCC chair people are very conservative and for getting rid of net neutrality for the most part. So we've already got a 2-person lead on this, and we need to counteract that with the activism of the people. The people need to speak out. This is not about corporations anymore. This is about your internet, people. You know, we should be making this a public utility. Internet should not be costing anything for anybody anyhow. It's not something that big telecom and cable companies should be allowed to control. This is a resource that is absolutely fundamental now to our ability to maintain free speech and open access to information. The information age will not be stopped and held back by a bunch of business elites and what have you. Donald Trump has no idea what net neutrality is. He doesn't care what net neutrality is. What he is doing is he's taking the advice of the people around him who are, you know, hell-bent on appointing yet another right-wing-ish person for that position. His name is Brendan Carr, who's a FCC. They want Donald Trump to nominate this guy for the FCC chair. He's a former telecom lawyer for Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T. This is a clear conflict of interest, and it's a conflict of interest not just for businesses who are involved in building websites and maintaining sales through data exchange and through being able to push their websites. You know, it's about the small people in the media as well. You know, it benefits everybody, including those big telecom people, for it to stay open, fair, and free, because as it is, it's virtually unregulated, you know, and it needs to stay that way. We need to be able to have open dialogue, and everyone's voice should be able to matter. Everyone should be able to put their voice out there, you know, just like we're doing here, you know, just like they do with the Jimmy Dore show, just like H.A. Goodman does with Counter Propa, just like Tim Black does, you know, all of the people who've come before me. We need to be able to continue to do this to give you these different perspectives. The business world and elite are trying to take over our internet. You know, they're trying to take over everything, but if we let them have our right to free press, which is represented in the internet, our right to fair and free open information, which is our internet, then all bets are off. You know, we might as well just let them run roughshod over us on every single level, because we're not going to be able to exchange the appropriate information that we need to exchange in order to maintain counterbalances and checks and balances on them. You know, as a transparency activist, I can tell you that there is nothing in the world that scares me more than the idea of corporations being able to shut down people's right to voice dissent at their control. So, again, call Ajit Pai and everyone else at the FCC. Leave a message on the internet, on the Facebook. Leave messages in the comments. Call your Congress people and call your Congress people and senators. I had a very brief discussion at a town hall meeting with our local Congress person, our U.S. senator actually, who was Michael Bennett. We did a town hall. At the end, I stopped in and asked him about net neutrality, and he really didn't seem to have any idea. He didn't seem to really care. He passed it off as, well, I don't know. What do you think should be done about it? And I told him clearly I think that it should stay free, fair, and open. But it seemed to wash over him like, you know, well, I'll have to look into it. And I'm like, well, can you call the FCC chairs? And do you guys have any pull whatsoever? And he said, I don't know. They don't even know what their own influence is. And that just is an earmarker. His response to me is an earmarker of everything that's wrong with both the Democratic and Republican Party. But it's also, he doesn't know what it is. He doesn't care what it is. You know, it's not in his scope because he's focused on donations. He's focused on glad-handing people and going to town halls that are basically softball ranges for him. I digress from the original statement. Again, his answer for FCC was, well, what do you think should be done? And I'll look into it. So it was a nonsensical answer. Everybody needs to call people like Michael Bennett and every other congressman out there. Our other congressman here in the Valley, here in Colorado, is Cory Gardner. Yeah, everybody needs to call these people, and call your FCC. Get on their online on their site and give good reasons. All your really good reasons, people, why you think that it's important to protect net neutrality. Don't let them. They keep trying to display it as it's a personal attack, and people are just being ridiculous because we don't like these personalities that are in control. And it's just simply not true. There are valid reasons, and it's about freedom of speech, and it's about freedom of press and preservation of those things. So again, call your congresspeople, call the FCC, get online, leave your comments, make them very good comments, nothing mean-spirited, nothing personal. Make them about the issue of preservation of net neutrality and freedom of speech. I'll end that segment right there, and I'll move on to the next one. My next segment that I wanted to talk about was the other thing that's being ignored in our mainstream media as of right now is the DNC lawsuit that's happening. The DNC lawsuit is based off of the Democratic primaries, of course, that happened this election, last election cycle with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. There's a class action lawsuit by the Bernie supporters who have donated money to the campaign and against the DNC and basically their corruption and collusion to prevent them from getting Bernie Sanders nominated. They did not have, by their own charter, they didn't have a fair, open. There was nothing fair about the way that happened. Now, all of us know it. All of us watched it. That's part of the reason what got me motivated to begin with. Is I was a big Bernie supporter. We campaigned for Bernie. We gave out flyers for Bernie. We chalked for Bernie. We talked Bernie. I have a great article about all of this called Bye Bye Bernie, the People's Revolution Placebo. We did everything we could to get Bernie Sanders nominated and in people's attention and scope. And I argued with rednecks over socialism, for crying out loud, for Bernie Sanders. So there's no bigger proponent of Bernie Sanders, but the fact of the matter is, shown through WikiLeaks and shown through just the process itself, the media blackout that everybody cannot deny happened against Bernie Sanders, the WikiLeaks email thing shows everything you need to know about how they decided to try to manipulate this election, including shutting out the progressive movement that was Bernie Sanders and his followers. I believe they bought Bernie's lunch, so to speak. I'm not really sure what that means either. What I think it means is they threatened him, or they coerced him, or they bribed him. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but he's not the man that I was supporting all that time. That's for sure. He's a different guy altogether. So the DNC lawsuit is something that's happening right now. Their initial reply was, you should dismiss this case because, well, we're the Democratic Party. We're kind of in a private club, and if you bought into anything and thought we were going to actually do something, or you think we were going to be held accountable for our own charter or our own rules, then you were sorely mistaken. You were a sucker, and shouldn't have even been listening to us to begin with. It's just a nonsensical argument, and then I don't know how they're going to move forward from that point on, from trying to make that argument in a court, which the mainstream media is completely ignoring. It is completely ignoring the DNC lawsuit. It covers it so little that most people aren't even aware of it. I mention it to people, and they're like, I don't know. I mean, I've heard something about it, but I didn't think it was going anywhere. And it still remains to be seen, but the media blackout of it is similar to, anything that we saw during Bernie Sanders' campaign. It's just obvious. You know, it's just obvious. And you can't even pretend that this isn't happening, because if you turn on the mainstream media, these things are actually in play, and none of it's being reported on. You know, and if it is, it's offhanded. It's a very strange way. You know, nobody's really sure what to make of our mainstream media and anymore. You know, we've seen the media giants one by one show their true stripes and colors, and gradually show that they're in fact against democracy and against the American people, and for corporations that pay their light bills. You know, um, the DNC lawsuit, we don't know where it will go. I don't know that it even matters. We've been shown everything that we need to show. The fact that there's no indictments happening over the primaries is nothing short of gobsmacking to me. Of course, there should be indictments over the primaries. We have evidence that is supplied by WikiLeaks, you know, that these people colluded. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, and the Hillary Clinton campaign, mainstream media, all colluded to prevent Bernie Sanders and the popular progressive movement that he was leading before they bought his lunch, that we were all part of, that I was part of, that, you know, we were part of. They went out of their, and they would not have been able to stop him. Actually, if they had not done the media blackout, it's clear that Bernie Sanders would have won. You know, if he had gotten equal time to Hillary Clinton, or certainly Donald Trump, you know, even close, if he had gotten a quarter of the attention that Donald Trump had garnered through the mainstream media, then Bernie Sanders would probably be our president right now and would have won the primaries without any objection. Except for they did pretty much rig the primary in every way they could. They would have, no matter what, prevented Bernie Sanders from taking this spot. I'm sure of it. The Democratic Party has shown its true colors. They've shown themselves to be neoliberal tools, corporate no do-batters, nefarious people. They're just not. And I'm not really sure what else to say besides that. I'm at a loss at all the different things that I could say about them, especially after the way Democrats, just in general, acted during the Bernie Sanders campaign, during the primaries, and during the general election. It was incredible. So again, the DNC lawsuit, look into it. There's a lot of other people who have gotten on and done a little bit more, ferreted some more of the information out than I have, obviously, but it's a really important issue to pay attention to. It's pretty much, it's pretty much the culmination of what's happened since they robbed Bernie Sanders of the primary. So, and that's my report on that. Next, I'm moving on to. Next, I'm going to move on to Trump media and the Russian conspiracy. First, before I do that, I'm going to cover the new news of the G-20 meeting, where Donald Trump had Melania actually sit in for him as a world leader in the G-20 meeting, sat next to the English Prime Minister. I don't really know what to quite make of all of that, to tell you the truth. I don't know if it's another media blitz that Donald is drummed up, or if he's just mentally ill and doesn't know what the hell he's doing and doesn't understand. Somebody has had to say, Donald, you can't do that. You would think. But he did it anyway. They did it anyway. I mean, you'd think that they would have sent Rex Tillerson or any other person, any other person in there, to do that. But for some reason, he decided Melania was his go-to. I don't know what to make of this. We'll see how this plays out. It's definitely got the mainstream media's attention, and everybody is just gabbling and gabbling about it. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, it's just a big circus. It seems. It seems like everything that Donald Trump does is part of the show. It seems like he tweets and says things and does things, and everybody gets all worked up and pays a lot of attention to those things. Many things of which have no real bearing or consequence. And then there are other things like the net neutrality, like the DNC the DNC lawsuit and what have you, that are just going completely uncovered. And it's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. Move on to the DNC leaks and lawsuit. Again, we'll come back to that as that story continues to develop. I'll get a little bit more information and come back to you on it. Donald Trump, the G-20 meeting I just mentioned, the media, and Russia. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll come back to you. I'm going to get a little bit more prepared for this particular cast because it's important. So for all you who are staying tuned and tuning in with me, I'll come right back to you. Thank you.